Currently enjoying his best goal-scoring spell at Manchester United, it is hard to imagine that Anthony Martial came close to departing Old Trafford a few years ago. It was during the 2017-2018 campaign. Jose Mourinho was the manager of the club. The Portuguese tactician bought two strikers during his 3-year stay at United, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku, with the latter being seen as a long-term option. The Belgian's arrival meant that the Frenchman was going to be in for a fight in order to nail down a regular spot in the starting 11. The talented forward was largely deployed down the left wing since Mourinho didn't really trust him as a true number 9, a role that the striker always wanted to excel in. However, the arrival of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer changed things for the talented Frenchman, much like most of his teammates. The Norwegian has given Martial an ample amount of chances to play as a number 9, and in all fairness, results have been impressive. The striker has already registered a career-best goal tally in the Premier League, despite missing almost 2 months of action due to injuries. We can only imagine how many goals the France international would have plundered had he stayed fit throughout the campaign. And as Manchester United continue getting the right results as they seek to break into the top 4, the likes of Martial, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba are showcasing the best qualities of a United offensive line. Martial is enjoying perhaps his best spell as a Manchester United player, and although he might have been a little inconsistent in recent outings against the likes of Norwich City and Brighton, it is clear that the former Monaco man has all the talent in the world to become the 20-goal striker the Red Devils have been needing for quite some time. In fact, the Red Devils have not lost any of the Premier League games this season in which Martial has scored, which further outlines his importance to the team. While Solskjaer does have a few options, the Norwegian tactician clearly sees Martial as a long-term number 9. It was a big decision when the likes of Lukaku and Sanchez were allowed to leave, but the decision has been justified. Mason Greenwood's rise has helped the cause. Marcus Rashford continues maturing, and Martial slowly but surely is looking more and more like the serial goalscorer he was meant to be. Unlike Mourinho, Solskjaer has done an amazing job with those players who struggled under Mourinho, and Martial is perhaps the best example of this pattern. The Frenchman was unable to command a place as a number 9 when the Portuguese man was at the helm, but Solskjaer has shown a lot of flexibility in his approach by trying to test Martial in a role he prefers. While Mourinho didn't have the patience, the Norwegian's approach has really helped Martial on his path to becoming an elite number 9. Under Mourinho, Martial played 106 games and started 68 of those. Not bad, right? But in most of these games, the Frenchman was deployed down the left flank, so he registered more assists. 27 goals and 17 assists isn't a bad return, but then again, Martial is a player who's supposed to be scoring goals on a regular basis. Under Solskjaer this season, Martial has played 38 games and scored 19 goals while providing 6 assists. Out of these 38 games, Martial has scored all his goals while playing as a number 9, which once again shows how far the striker has come. While he's missed 6 league games due to injury, we're sure Martial could have scored more goals, and perhaps his goals would already have propelled United to a Champions League spot. Solskjaer's decision of allowing Lukaku to leave, not to go for a new striker in the transfer market, and trusting Martial as a number 9 has paid dividends. Martial's hat-trick against Sheffield United was not just the first of his career, it was the first time a Manchester United player had scored 3 goals in 7 years. While he may not be the finished product yet, Martial has everything in his arsenal to become a top striker for the club. The only thing that could probably hurt him in the long run would be Martial's inability to stay consistent for a longer period of time. For instance, following a hat-trick against Sheffield United, Martial struggled to shine in the games against Norwich and then Brighton. Consistency is definitely an issue for the striker, so this is something Solskjaer will have to work on. Regardless, the 24-year-old is bound to come up with the goods on a regular basis, following the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, whose positioning and ability to find that killer pass is what Martial was not getting on a regular basis ever since he joined Manchester United. And now that Fernandes and Paul Pogba are slowly striking a decent partnership in midfield, things are only bound to get better for Martial. It's question time. Can you tell us which club Lukaku joined from Manchester United last summer? Answer this in the comments and you might just win a $100 Amazon gift card. Throw in the fact that the club would be looking to make a move for Jadon Sancho once the summer transfer window opens, and you might see a scenario unfold where the Frenchman would start scoring goals for fun. And although he's more comfortable playing as a number 9, Martial's ability to cut inside and cause panic in the opposition half makes him an asset. There would be times when Marcus Rashford would miss out on games, and that's where Martial's ability to play as a winger would come in handy. Solskjaer has admitted that the club might be looking for a striker in the transfer market. With Odion Ayalo's loan deal expiring once the season concludes, the Norwegian would still want to get a hold of a proven goalscorer so as not to overburden the current squad. That could make things difficult for Martial, but on the opposite side of the spectrum, it may just force the striker into working twice as hard on the training pitch to ensure he doesn't lose his place in the starting 11 after working so hard to become a key figure.